we have followed the sun all the way to London, where SABC senior sports reporter Liezl Olivier will be covering that test match for us. On that note, good morning, Liezl. The big match, of course, just a few hours away. Perhaps you could give us that preview ahead of what's happening tonight.
And the big day has finally arrived. Good morning, South Africa, and welcome to a very cold London this morning. The Springboks will take on England at the iconic Twickenham Stadium later this evening, early evening for us. And without further ado, let me introduce my guest to understand what's going on in a coach's mind, and his take on this afternoon's test match is former Springbok assistant coach, former Western Province coach, Bath, Worcester and USA, Gary Gold. Gary, thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. It's South Africa's 100th test match today, an historic day, 100th on UK and Irish soil. So it's quite fitting that they're playing the test at the home of rugby. Tell us a bit about your experiences about Twickenham. A wonderful stadium, a wonderful atmosphere.
No, it is. It's an incredible place to come to. The English call it HQ for obvious reasons. It's just a special place. It's a very, very special day in the calendar. There's lots of iconic games. Obviously, our All Black rivalry is special, but the Springboks in London playing England in Twickenham in the Autumn Internationals has now become a bucket list trip for so many supporting fans, and the rivalry has become quite fierce over the many years. I mean, you think way back to the early 2000s, that epic game, that 53-3 loss way back in 2002. And then over the years since then, just the improvements that the Springboks have made, and 2008, the infamous 42-6 victory, and then 2010 another victory, and then over the years, just an incredibly fierce rivalry between the two countries. And when you have a day like today, then all bets are off. Everything that's happened in the weeks before really count for nothing, because it's a massive day for England. Double world champions at Allianz Twickenham today means that it's an incredibly big day, and for the English public, and being here for the week, and just listening to the English rugby fans, for them it's a massive day, especially in light of what's happened over the last couple of weeks.
Especially in light of that, and the English press, Rassie, Sia, have referred to it, saying that never write England off. They agree with you. They're a little bit on the back foot. They should have won the test between against New Zealand and Australia, so they cannot be underestimated.
No, they can't. We were chatting about it a little bit earlier. The British media are ruthless, and you lose two test matches against a pretty good New Zealand team and a revived Australia team. You lose it by a point, bounce of a ball here. George Ford hits the post there. But I thought they played quite well, actually, in very many phases, in very many places of the game. And I agree with Rusty 100%. You're going to this game today at your peril if you take England lightly. Their backs against the wall for them as well, and I know from their psyche, playing South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, all in the Autumn International is the dream for them. They love to be measured against that. In their heyday back in 2003 when they were world champions, they were beating those three teams regularly at Twickenham. And, they beat South Africa today, and all is forgiven, and the Steve Borthwick revival is well and truly on its way. So, the Springboks are going to have their backs against the wall. In saying that, we're an incredibly good team. We ridiculously cohesive in terms of the amount of players we've got coming back, even with 12 changes. And I think this team is mature enough now that they're not going to take today easy.
I wanted to ask you about the team, the 12 changes, as you've mentioned. If you look at the team, he brought out the big guns, but these days all the players could be considered big guns. But what are you reading into the match that the team that he selected?
Yeah, I have a slightly different view. I think that basically Rassie is using 2024, 2025 these 2 years as building years for the 27 World Cup. You know, and if you consider the fact that we can pick a team the way we did last week against Scotland, play with a 7-1, and bring on a firepower like we did, make 12 changes, and you look at the team, if you've come in from the cold and you just look at the team, you're going to think, well, that's a pretty good team. On merit, that's there or thereabouts, as good a team as we can pick, is showing that, you know, strength and depth is obviously his objective. I'm certainly not saying that Rusty doesn't want to win, because that's all Rusty knows is how to win. But I think what he is doing, and for the first time in the history of Springbok rugby, you know, we could probably put 2 full teams out that are as good as each other on any given day. And mixing and matching the combinations is an important thing for him as well. So we've got a good team out there today, but you know, we are very blessed with our strength and depth.
One word, who's going to win?
I think the Springboks will win comfortably.
Thank you so much for chatting to us, Gary. Really appreciate your thoughts and insight. That's it. We'll be keeping you updated throughout the day. SABC News.